If you've seen my top 10 sets I want for Christmas video that I made back in November, you would know that the top of the list at number 1 was the Elemental Lightning Dragon versus the Empress mech. And I did end up getting that set for Christmas. And while I do love the Lightning Dragon just as much, if not even more than I thought I would, the Empress mech, on the other hand, was a huge disappointment for me. And now I love this thing in the show. I think this mech has some of the best scenes in the entire series. And I think it has the best fight scenes when it comes to mechs in the whole show. So now it has taken me quite a while to figure out what I don't like about this, but I think I finally figured out the two main things, or the two main problems I have with this mech, and that is the torso and the arms. But actually, first I'm going to talk about the things I like about this mech, because there are quite a few things I like about this mech. For one, the legs. I love this leg design. I think it is really good. I really like how it's done. It's simple, but very effective. Mainly these knees. I love how the knees are done. They're so simple, but very effective. And I like that design for the knees so much that I used it on 2 of my mocks. I just kind of wanted to sneak these guys into a third video. And you can also see that I still have the leg swap from the big half an hour long video I uploaded today. And if you want to see how these knees are built, or you want to see, or you want to get a better look at either of these guys, then both of them have their own individual videos on my channel where I take a closer look at how these knees are done. But I'm like, it should be fairly obvious to see how they're built. But yeah, I really like this. It's like design, very simple, very effective, and then the feet as well. This is a very unique foot design. You can see it's not completely level. The heel here sticks out farther than the rest of the foot. But like, it has absolutely no problem standing. It can still stand and balance perfectly fine. And then another thing I really like is the weapon. I really like this sword design. It is very accurate to the show, and I do not think that the designers could have done a better job with this weapon. The only thing that would maybe change is changing this brown piece here to black to match the rest of the weapon, because I don't know, the brown just kind of looks out of place, and I don't really just fits it. And I don't really think fits the Imperium with all their high-tech stuff. I don't even know if you can see the difference between those pieces on camera. Yeah, no, that piece right there is like a dark brown, while like this and then the rest of it is black. And then I also really love the use of the Prime Empire blade piece here, especially in orange, because orange is my favorite color. So I really like seeing that used here. Now, if only they would start using the crystallized blade more. Another thing that I really like are the stickers. I do really like these stickers here. See, there's some on the legs. There's one here on the shoulder pad, and then I think that's it, actually, for the stickers. And then I also really like this saw blade piece here on the back. And then I guess this is kind of cheating, but I also really love the Empress figure. This is a really fantastic figure. And then also just the design of the arms, I do like. I love this shoulder pad here. And I love this hand here. And then I'm pretty sure this hand can like shoot out like like laser beams or something. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because also they both use the SCCBS armor piece here for the on the arms, but this one has like a lot more orange on it, while this one doesn't. And then this one also has a tube going around the back. So yeah, so I really like the weapons. And this arm has a wrist. Has a wrist here, while this one doesn't. Okay, now getting on to the stuff I don't really like. Again, starting off with the torso. And the only thing that I really don't like about the torso is that I just wish it was bigger. Like, in the show, this mech is pretty bulky. And I just kind of wish the torso was bulky. Because, see, the torso is only 4 studs wide. If you take the Empress out, you can see that the torso is only 4 studs wide. And that right there is bigger than the core mechs. You can see Zane's Evo mech here is 6 studs wide, while the Empress mech is only 4 studs wide. This is $10, and this is 1/3 or 1/4 of a $130 set. So yeah, the design of the torso I do not like. I don't dislike it at all. And I do really like some of the parts usage here. Like these gun pieces here on the sides. But I just wish it was a bit bulkier. For one, to be more accurate to the show, but also just to fit the size of this mech a little more. Because I don't think it looks small compared to the limbs. But I think it would look better, especially compared to the legs, if it was a bit bigger. And now the real issue I have with the set, the arms. I like the design of the arms, but I don't like the arms. I like the stuff like the shoulder pads, the SCCBS pieces here, and then this hand. But everything else I don't really like. And I think that just comes down to the mixer ball joints. I don't think that the mixer ball joints here work. Now, this might just be my copy of the set, but for me, the mixer ball joints seem fairly loose. Like they're not loose, like they're gonna hold the position. They're not gonna fall down at all. But one thing is that, like, I feel like if I put sword back in her hand here, then I think sometimes this sword is a bit too heavy for the mixer ball joints. In most poses, it's not going to fall. It's going to hold its pose, but if you just move it in the wrong way, it's going to fall over. At least my copy. Now, another thing I really don't like, and this is something I've known that I didn't like for a while, pretty much ever since I built the set, is that how the mixer ball joints are positioned. You can see they're like facing up. No. So instead of the mixer ball joints being positioned like this on the shoulder, they're positioned like this. You see? And this, I just think, limits the articulation. Like, you can't move the arm up. You can't move the arm up. See, it snapped off. Can't move the arm up. Can't move it back that far. And then also with the way, since this ball joint is positioned like this ball joint is forced to be positioned like the way this is, so you can't move the bottom half of the arm over. You can't move it across the body. Like, you can go, like, you can do like that, but like, I don't know, it doesn't really. This just, I don't like how this is attached. I think it just limits articulation a bit. If like a mech like this, which is like is supposed to be very poseable, and especially how it moves in the show, I don't think that was like the best choice. And especially when you have the sword in her hand, that's when it really, because that's when I really don't like that. And then yeah, and then same thing with this one. It's just not really fun to pose. Like it's kind of different. Like that just makes it kind of difficult to pose. And again, when you have the weapon in hand, I it really just kind of sucks. Bring this guy, you would notice his shoulders. They're done the same way as the Empress mech here. But the difference being, this guy is a lot smaller. He's a lot smaller, and see how I've done the arm. I have the ball joint here, and then the socket connected there. While on the Empress mech, you have the socket on the top part of the arm, and then the actual ball joint here on the bottom part. But if you do it like this, then having this socket be positioned like this doesn't really like hinder the movement of the bottom portion of the arm. And what sucks is that the since the arms are limited, you can't really replicate the poses that this thing does in the show. Since in the show, this is arguably the most flexible and articulated mech we've ever seen in the show. So the fact that you can't really replicate that very well, since of how the arms are built, just sucks. Oh yeah, for some reason this hand doesn't have a thumb. For some reason. Or a wrist. So yeah, the main two issues I have with this mech was I think the torso's too small and should be bulked up a bit, and as well as just I don't like that the arms use mixed ball joints. I think they would have been way better if they used normal size ball joints. This thing just isn't really that fun to pose and just the handle. But now this doesn't ruin the set for me. This doesn't ruin the elemental lightning dragon. For me, I still love the dragon, and I think actually makes up for this mech not being the best. But I am still very disappointed in this because I was excited for this pretty much just as much as I was for the dragon. But yeah, with that, if you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate it if you took 2 seconds to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.